What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're going to talk some football. Houston Texans football. Today we're going to talk about the moves that the Houston Texans done. Free agency is right around the corner, so right now the Texans are doing moves, and they re-up two players. They re-up Ka'imi Fairbairn, the kicker, and also tight end Darren Fells. Darren Falls got a 2-year contract for $7 million. That's like basically it's worth $3.5 million per year. Then Fairbairn got a 4-year, $17.95 million deal that gives him around, I think, like a little under 4.5, right around $4.5 million per year. If I'm not mistaken, I think he got $9 million guaranteed. And this is what I feel about these two signings. To be honest, I feel that the Texans just wasted $8 million. My personal opinion. I understand the Fairbairn one. Fairbairn's not the greatest kicker, but he's not terrible at his job. I do think you can upgrade, but I understand why I understand why you did what you did. I would have liked to maybe to see if they could win a cheaper route, maybe got somebody else in, but I understand that move. So I'm not really angry with that move. I know my boy Wise somewhere around probably ready to go find him because Wise could not stand Fairbairn. And like the kick against Kansas City in the playoffs, it wasn't really his fault. I blame them on Bill O'Brien by wasting the timeout on their drive that they kicked the field goal on earlier because Deshaun and the offense didn't have enough time to get into closer field goal range. Because really, Fairbairn is really money inside the 50. It's when you get to 50 and longer is where his sketchiness really comes out, and then also on some extra points. Like I said, he's not terrible. He got better as the season progressed this year. Like he was terrible early on, but as the season progressed, he got better. So like I said, I understand that move. The move I have an issue with is the Darren Fells move, and not because of Darren Fells. It has nothing to do with Darren Fells. I just don't see the need that you give him a contract. I don't see the need why you give him a contract because you have 3 tight ends. What this tells me more so than anything is that Jordan Thomas is gone. They're gonna end up you know how every year we have a 3rd round pick that gets cut from since Bill O'Brien's been the head coach. I think it's going to be now with this move right here. You can almost guarantee it's going to be Jordan Thomas. I know my boy Wink thinks it's going to be Kiki and Duke Ejiofor. I ain't gonna lie, it's not looking good for my boy Kiki right now in that regard. I don't agree with the Duke Ejiofor one, but I think I agree it's not looking good for Kiki. But right now, as it stands, the arrow is really pointing toward Jordan Thomas because there's really no need for the Texans to even give to give Darren Fells his job. I'm giving him this contract extension, and I'm gonna explain why. The main reason why is that I know people are like it's only $7 million, $3.5 million per year. That $3.5 million per year can come a long way when that could be the difference of you signing a corner. Because say for instance you're in the market for Byron Jones, we're just gonna throw out them Byron Jones. Say you offering Byron Jones $16 million. Say somebody else is willing to offer Byron Jones $17. Well, you could have went that 17 route, but you just gave away $3.5 million. So if you didn't have to give away the $3.5 million, you would have had that $3.5 million to add to this, to add to the Byron Jones. Hey, we'll give you 17.5, something like that, something of those lines. Because of that $3.5 million, could be the just part of it, just the half part could be the difference between you signing a Byron Jones or a James Bradbury or a Chris Harris or something like that. That could be the difference of signing them to be signing a Eli Apple. Because like now we got to go the cheaper route. Now because the price tag is getting too rich for our blood. Remember, we still trying to get Tunsil a deal. Tunsil's asking for $20 million. You talking about still paying Deshaun? You already paid money. I think they kind of wasted money by giving Whitney a contract extension before the season ends. So that's the problem I have. And not to mention, you already have 3 tight ends. You have Akins, you have Thomas, and then you have was it Kylie Warren, the guy that we didn't get to see yet because he was on injured reserve last year. So you already have 3 tight ends. So you didn't need to spend money on a tight end. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I like Darren Fells a lot. His play dipped off towards the end of the season, and I don't think it's his fault. I think it's because in the beginning of the season, the first half, when we were using RPOs, he was effective. Where he had 7 touchdowns. At one point, was leading the league in touchdowns for tight ends. He ended with either being second or being third and touchdowns for tight ends. So And like I know he didn't lead. If I'm not saying, I think Kittle's led the league in touchdowns. I think Kittle led the league in touchdowns for tight ends. So Darren Fields is either second or third, but he's up there when it comes to scoring tight ends, and that's because you was using him effectively with the RPOs. It was money. It was basically unstoppable. After the bye week, it was like we went away from RPOs. We didn't use RPOs anymore, and after that, Darren Fells became ineffective. Darren Fells was not the same player the first half of the season to the second half of the season because of the way we were using him. And he was brought in to be a blocker. Like they were saying, he's basically an extra right guard. He's basically an extra right guard, but we seen a catching style because of the whole RPO game. And then he had some sketchy plays, like the play he should have scored against Tampa Bay. Then the game against Buffalo when Deshaun in the second half didn't have any. He only had one incompletion. The one incompletion he had was in overtime to Darren Fells because Darren Fells dropped the easy first down. So towards the end of the season, also once they stopped using the RPOs, just him running regular routes, his hands got a little bit sketchy. And I'm not saying that's the problem because he was running regular routes. I'm just saying that when we were doing the RPO system, he was absolutely beastly. Now, with this signing, will Tim Kelly use him more? It was that part of Tim Kelly's game plan, the RPOs, and Bill O'Brien went away from that. I don't know. It's remained to be seen what we're going to see coming into the season. But all I know is that he was a guy who was effective early on, and you stopped using him correctly, you started using him incorrectly, and he no longer became effective, which is cool. Like I say, I'm not blaming Darren Fells in the slice. I'm blaming more so the system. But just on the simple fact that you have three young tight ends, if I'm not mistaken, even though Akins is not as young, but he's young as he is. This will be his third year, and I think he's 28, 29. But Darren Fells is 34, 35, something like that, because he played overseas, he played basketball overseas. So he's an older guy, and like I said, in the money situation like that, he's really not getting paid a lot. But I'm just saying that $3.5 million could be the difference between you signing some of these top end corners or signing a top end pass rusher, however you're trying to do your free agency. You could lose out in a bidding war. Is basically what I'm trying to say. You could lose out in the bidding war because you're not able and being willing to put in the extra $500,000 to $1 million to $1.5 million because you have $3.5 million tied up Darren Fells. That's why I believe the waste of money is, especially when you already have three tight ends on your roster. You already have three tight ends. You have two young ones, and then you have a guy who's very athletic. Jordan Akins is extremely athletic tight end. So you have three capable tight ends that especially Kyle Warner. You spent the third round pick on him, a premium third round pick at that, one of the compensatory pick. You spent a premium third round pick on him. You got to see after you already had two tight ends on your roster. You cannot afford to just let him walk. You have to see what you got out of him. You got to see, is he going to be an Owen Daniels type player, which was what everybody was saying when we drafted. He could be an Owen Daniels / Travis Kelce type tight end. You got to see that now. You have to justify that move, even though I know that was a Brian Gaines move. You have to justify that by letting him be on the field to see exactly what he has. So he's going to get to play. Jordan Akins has shown athletically that he's more athletic than Darren Fells anyway. So the odd man out the room is Jordan Thomas. Guy who got hurt during the preseason, took a little bit long to come back, and then when he was active, after he came back, he was completely ineffective. Wasn't looking good. Kind of looked a little slouchy, a little bit out of shape. So that's why I think that he's probably going to be the odd man out anyway, even though he's a big guy. But I just think that he's just basically an underachiever, not looking really well. So I'm pretty sure he is going to be the odd man out. And he's going to be the one that's going to end up getting cut in this situation because you now put money into Darren Fells when you didn't have to because you already had three tight ends on your roster. So now that's why I don't really like the move. Like I said, I feel that you wasted money. I would have just rolled with the tight ends. I was good with rolling with the tight ends. That's what I felt the Texans were going to do. I was not expecting the Texans to give Darren Fells a contract. I kind of figured they was going to get Fairbairn this one. I'm not upset with the Fairbairn deal at all. I do think that they could do better. But I'm cool with Darren Fells. I'm cool with the Ka'imi Fairbairn deal. And not to mention, you're talking about you probably going to bring back you're going to probably bring it either Carlos Hyde or go get a running back. So where's all this money? Because you were at $60 million, now you didn't spend $8. So now you at $52 million. So are you gonna do some cuts? What are you gonna do? How are you gonna come up with the salary? Are you gonna hold off on Tunsil? Are you gonna keep kicking that Tunsil deal down the road? Because the more you kick it down the road, the more expensive it's going to get because you gave up two first round picks for Tunsil. He's going to command money, and if you let him get another year with a Pro Bowl, not to mention you let him get a All Pro, say the offense does click under Tim Kelly, and you allow him to get an All Pro. Now that price tag is given even more high. You got what's it called coming down the pipeline? Cunningham. You got Cunningham coming down the pipeline that you got to pay pretty soon because he was a second round pick. So, I mean, he only has a 4-year deal. He doesn't get a 5-year option. You keep kicking these cans down the road. Where is this money coming from? You're going to have to start letting some of these players go. And people are already upset about some of the players that you've already let go. They're going to be even more upset about some other players you're going to let go or just let walk out the door. So I just think that you didn't have to spend that $3.5 million with Darren Fells. I know people say it's small money. I get that. But that small money, you keep spending small. You keep buying on the $5 menu. When you finally get your bill, you like, damn, I only ordered off the $5 menu. But you kept on ordering off it. That $5 add to 10, to 15, to 20, to 25, to 30. And now you're looking at them like, damn, I spent $30. But what I spent it on? I didn't really spend on nothing. I might as well spent and got the $25 meal instead of getting the $5 meal because it wasn't satisfying. And that's what the situation is. You're nickel and diming, but you're not. What is your receiving from the nickel and diamond? And then you look at them like, damn, I actually overspent by nickel and diamond when I could just pay the big price up front and got what I needed to get. So I just think it was just a different way they could have did it. They didn't have to give him this deal. I'm not against anybody getting no money. I just think in this situation, you should spend your money elsewhere. Kind of the same way I feel about the Whitney Mercer's deal. You should have spent your money elsewhere. You didn't have to give Whitney that deal. You didn't have to give Darren Fells that deal, especially in the situation in. We're in a different situation than we've been in years past, especially how the market is. Not only what's on the market and what our needs are, also the people that we do absolutely need to keep and what we've given up to get some of these dudes on the roster, and those guys are getting paid like Tunsil. You put yourself in a situation that, I'm gonna be honest, it's not looking good. I can definitely see 2 years from now, the Texans being extremely in cap when it comes to the cap space, unless the new CBA just blows up the whole salary cap market, and then we just get an fluctuating the cash, and the cap goes extremely up that you can fit all these guys under the cap, or by some way they end up getting rid of the cap altogether, like it was back in the early '90s and '80s, where there was no salary cap. Who knows? But other than that, you're in a situation where I could see the Texans in another 2 or 3 years being a horrible cap situation. And if that's the case, I don't think Bill O'Brien will be around to fix it. I think it'll be a new head coach and general manager trying to pick up that piece. But all in all, like I said, the guys got deals. Darren Fells, 2-year deal, $7 million, worth $3.5 million per year. Fairbairn, 4-year deal, $17.95 million per year. So $17.995 million, worth a little under $4.5 million per year, $9 million guaranteed. Let me know what y'all think about this contract. Do y'all think this contract is good? You good with Darren Fells? You think Darren Fells could be an All-Pro? And if Darren Fells comes out to be an All-Pro, it's not because it's mostly going to be because of Deshaun Watson, of course, and then also the way they utilize him. But hey, if Darren Fells come on and do that, then this deal is extremely worth it. Like I said, I think that Darren Fells was one of the most underrated players last year. I think it was a guy that we didn't talk about enough in that first half. But then, like I said, once that second half hit and we stopped using RPOs, he disappeared. And it's not, like I said, I don't blame him at all. I blame Bill O'Brien for not utilizing your players in a way that you were dominated. Because when we were doing the RPOs, our offense was damn near unstoppable. Every time we used the RPO, it was either a first down or it was a touchdown. Go and look. Anytime we used the RPO, it was either a first down or when we used in the red zone, it was a touchdown. And I think if we did more stuff like that, Kansas City doesn't score 41 unanswered points because the Texans moved the ball a little bit better. But Bill O'Brien didn't do that. Same thing in Buffalo. But the Texans are not down 16-0 if you start using RPOs. I don't think that some of those games don't go down the way they went down if you were using RPOs in the second half. But for some reason they didn't. I don't understand that. Something that I never got that. Oh, it wasn't working anymore. That was bull because they stopped using it. It wasn't like they was using it and it stopped working. No, they just stopped using it altogether. They came back on after that ball weekend against Baltimore and just didn't use the RPOs anymore. Like it just went away. Like they forgot. They left it in London. They didn't use it no more. After they came back from London, they forgot we got RPOs. Because the only time they used it was the game against the Patriots and it was a touchdown. Like they just we're not using it anymore. Like I don't get it. But like, share, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. I holla.